here today. I am a general practitioner. I have worked with refugees in the community for the last 2 or 3 years, and I have heard very disturbing stories of suffering and sacrifice people have had to make to leave their countries and come here to start new lives for themselves. And in case anyone is wondering, I'm not a refugee, although it would make a great story. I'm in fact a descendant of the Afghan Cameliers, and I also have proud Indigenous ancestry. Always will be, always was Aboriginal land. So I'm here today as a representative, as the Melbourne representative for Doctors for Refugees. This is a advocacy organisation. We believe all people should have access to healthcare regardless of their appearance, their background or their religion. We are a group of Australian doctors, nurses and allied health practitioners, and we are campaigning for fair and humane treatment of refugees and asylum seekers in Australia. As we have all affirmed a version of the Hippocratic Oath, we have a responsibility as trusted and respected leaders in our community to address any inequity to access to good health care. These include those who have been subjected to atrocities and displacement. Health care is a human right. I want to bring to your attention some statistics outlining the numbers of detainees who have been harmed whilst in detention. 57 serious assaults, this was from 2013 and 14. 233 assaults involving children. 207 incidents of self-harm. 33 incidents of sexual assault, the majority being children. Let me personalise these statistics for you, as we can never give you a clear picture of the human cost. I want to tell you about Hamid Karzai, a 24-year-old Iranian who had an infected wound on his leg. He died of septicemia. There were delays with his medical transfer to Australia for adequate treatment. There was inadequate access and use of interpreters. Antibiotics that are readily available in this country were not accessible to him. Instead of doctors making decisions to transfer based on medical knowledge, bureaucracy was deciding when he should leave. There were no emergency visa protocols. He died from septicemia from a leg wound, a very rare occurrence in Australia. The coronial inquest into his death will be starting this month, so more details regarding this will come to light. Another disturbing case was the self-immolation of Omid Masumali in April. He was 23 years old. He set himself on fire out of utter despair. Can you imagine the level of mental anguish that could push someone to the edge where the only way they saw out was to set themselves on fire? There were massive delays with basic treatment. For 2 hours he had no access to doctors and walked around half naked in agony. It took 8 hours for him to have decent analgesia such as morphine. In Australia, this would be a medical emergency and an urgent medical evacuation would have occurred. It took 24 hours for him to be airlifted from Nauru to Brisbane, a 6-hour flight. Serious burns can obstruct the airway and complex ICU care is needed in such cases. He didn't receive that and he died. I also want to talk briefly today about the recent breakthrough regarding the High Court challenge to the Border Force Act. This was launched in July by a group of doctors which challenged the clause in the Border Force Act that threatens for 2 years sentences for healthcare workers who speak about conditions in immigration detention centres. Under the Act, anyone working for, on behalf of the immigration detention system could be subject to 2 years imprisonment if they made unauthorised disclosures about care in the detention system. On the 30th of September, the federal government has amended this law to make healthcare professionals exempt. It defines healthcare practitioners as doctors, nurses, psychologists, midwives and so on, but notably it does not include teachers, social workers and other guardians. We are very pleased that health professionals will no longer be criminalised for acting in accordance with their professional ethics. But it's very concerning as many cases that come to light to doctors are from non-healthcare workers. Thank you. This is a win, but there still needs to be more efforts to increase transparency. We as doctors will continue to advocate for our patients and continue to uphold our responsibilities as care providers, and will continue to oppose the treatment of asylum seekers in detention.